Somewhere in England, by the seaside, there was a town called Haythornthwaite. It was a busy town full of busy streets, busy people, and busy shops. Except for one shop, which never seemed particularly busy, perhaps because it was in a side street away from the main busyness. But it was a good shop to go into if you had time, because it sold interesting things. It was owned by a lady. She was called, by anyone privileged enough to know her well, Aunt Mill. Now, Aunt Mill had a nephew called Sam. Sam was just like other boys, except for one thing. He had a magic ball which would take him to all sorts of places and bring him back again. One day, one very hot summer's day, with the sun shining like anything, Aunt Mill and Sam had taken a trip to the seaside. Aunt Mill might just as well have stayed in the garden, but Sam was enjoying himself very much. He looked up from his digging and saw something. It was something washed up by the tide, and it looked a bit like a paper boat, except that a paper boat would have been very wet and soggy, and this wasn't. Sam wondered what it could be and where it could have come from. He looked inside. There was a piece of paper, a map with an arrow pointing to an undersea cave. Someone needed help. The magic ball made the craft big enough for Sam, and he set off to see who had sent the map and why they needed his help. Sam found himself in an underground chamber, and not alone. Packed into a very small space were thousands and thousands of people who looked like sailors. What on earth? Thought Sam. He'd never seen so many people. They were crammed together very tight, and they didn't look at all happy. Sam wondered what to do. But one of the sailors called and pointed. "Knock on that door over there!" "How do I get there?" said Sam. "Fly?" "All aboard, me hearties," said the flying fish. someone knocked? Now, the last person Sam expected to see was a king. But the king told him all the people he'd seen were shipwrecked sailors who'd found their way to the cave over the years. When a ship was wrecked, it sank to the bottom. And all the sailors were swept along a tunnel and into the cave. Naturally, it became very crowded. The king had a room to himself because he was king, but only for a day. Tomorrow, it would be someone else's turn. And it didn't look as though it would get any better, what with one thing and another. The cave would just go on getting more and more crowded. Sam wondered where the light came from, and the king told him it was from a strange wall in the cave which gave out light like stars. It's just as well, be horrible in the dark. But why don't you all escape? Said Sam. It's lovely outside, and there's plenty of room. Look, I'll show you. Call that plenty of room? They all shouted. Much too crowded. It's not as crowded as here, said Sam. Look, we just need more space, said the king. Yes, more space, they all shouted. That's what we need, more space. More space. I think they like it here, really, said the king. They just need more space. More space! More space! So Sam and the king set out to find more space. Uh-oh, said Sam. Oh dear. Hang on, said Sam. Look. Yes, well, that's all right then, said Sam. Oh, look. That cave. That might be interesting. So they went inside to have a look. They found some splendid space, but unfortunately it was full of water. "Yeah, pity it's full of water," said the king. "You wait," said Sam. The magic ball lowered the water level, and there was marvelous space. The only trouble was, how were they going to get the sailors from the crowded cave to the uncrowded cave? It was a bit of a problem. But the magic ball solved it. "Oh, we're very glad you came along, lad. We were beginning to get a bit cramped. But now there's room for everybody." The shipwrecked sailors spread themselves about. "Room to move," said a fisherman. And they all thanked Sam very much for all his help. "No, it was nothing," said Sam. Back on the beach, Sam picked up a seashell, put it to his ear, and listened. He could hear all the sailors cheering. "Where have you been?" said Aunt Mill. "Nowhere much," said Sam.